Jai Hind to all. Myself Shikha Agarwal, Assistant Professor in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. So students, today we are going to discuss about the one more topic of computer networks, that is in the part of application layer. When we talk about the application layer, as we all are know that this is the last layer, or you can say the first layer of OSI model. When we talk about the application layer, basically it is being a user friendly so that the user can easily access the data from the applications. So into this we have already studied the concept of like IP addressing, physical addresses and so on, which should be in a form of numeric digits or an alphabet, but it would be very difficult to learn that part. So it would be very difficult to remember the names. So in the application layer, here we are going to discuss about the domain name system, and after the domain name system we will discuss about the architecture, and finally we are talking about the URL, that is a uniform resource locator. First of all, when we talk about the DNS, what do you mean by the term DNS? DNS matlab we are talking about the domain name system. Basically, whenever we are talking about the address of an individual or any website, then we always know that whatever the name we are giving to it, it should be an easy platform so that the one person can easily remember the name of that host file, the host name, right? So whenever we are typing that like a google.com, so it directly indicating to the corresponding IP address. So when we talk about the domain name system, when the DNS was not into an existence, when it was not existing into the real world, one had to download a host file, and that particular file contains the host names and their corresponding IP addresses. Out of all those addresses, by the combination of that table, they have to find what is the name of that host and what is their corresponding email address or an IP address, so that they can retrieve the data and they can easily transmit that data. But there is a problem into that size. With the increasing in the number of hosts, as soon as the number of hosts is being increasing, the size of the host file is being increasing day by day, right? So this results in a increased traffic on downloading this particular file too. So that is why we are facing a lot of problems whenever we are having a file. So into that case, when we all are now aware that from the last couple of years, the internet demand is being increasing. As soon as the increasing, then the host is also increasing. And when the number of hosts is being increasing, that particular file which is being containing the details of the host names and their corresponding IP addresses, that also been result in increasing the traffic on downloading that particular file. So by using the DNS, we are easy to solve the problem. How the problem is being solved by the DNS? When we talk about the problems to resolve, that DNS helps to resolve the problem of the host name to an address. Basically, it is being using a hierarchical naming scheme, and they are distributing the database of an IP addresses and their associated names into that. As we all know that when we are having a 32-bit IP address or a 128-bit IP address, it would be very difficult to learn, or it would be very difficult to remember all the host names. So in comparison to that, we are having a domain names that is very easy to remember, because generally it is in a native language, XYZ, whatever we are using into it. So suppose when we enter an email address, basically in the form of a symbolic strings, which is very easy for the user to understand, then we can say we are talking about the corresponding IP address. So basically in the case of domain names, we are using the examples like, suppose if I'm using a xyz@gmail.com, right? So this is basically an email address of an individual which represents that it is a XYZ is a name. So right, so it would be easy for us to remember the names, right? So basically it gives a symbolic string which represents the 32-bit or 128-bit IP address. This is called as a domain name. When I'm talking about the domain name system, basically its architecture is comprises of three things. The domain name system is first is domain names, the second is domain name spaces, and the third is the name server. When we talk about the domain name system architecture, when we are having a three parameters. The first is domain names. When we discuss about the domain names, basically it is a symbolic string which is being associated with an IP addresses, and generally these are the several domain names. We are having a lot of domain names, like if we are belongs to India, we can use IN. If we are having government agencies, we can use .gov, .net, .com, and these are the various generic names which is being used for the particular domain. So when we talk about the domain name, basically it is a symbolic string that is being associated with an IP addresses. And there are the various types of several domain names that is being existing into the world. There are some of them are as a generic, like we are using a .com, edu, .education, .gov, .net, etc. While when we talk about the domain names in a general, so these are the generic terms which we are using in any type of a domain names. But suppose if we are talking about the country level domain names, so into that case, the first two terms represents the countries. That particular term, abbreviated word, like if I'm using for India IN, so it means it representing for the India, that is a country level domains, right? So this is the way how the domain name works. These are the general examples. Suppose if I'm talking about the generic top level domain names, these are the common generic top level domain names which we are using in our day-to-day life. For example, if we are talking about the commercial business, the one who is doing an e-commerce business, so generally we are giving the domain name as a .com. If we are belonging to the educational society or in education terms, then we are using a .edu, right? If we are belongs to the, if we are sending the things by the government agencies, then it means we are using a .gov. When we are having an international entity, then we are having an INT. Suppose if we are using for the military operations and in a military fields and so on, then we are using MIL. If we belongs to a networking organization, then we are using .net. Or if we are talking about the non-profitable organizations, into that case we are using .org. See, when this is all are the generic terms or the domain top levels which we are using in our day-to-day life. Right? Suppose for example, as we know that we all are using a www.google.com, right? So Google is basically a generic top level commercial business website. Whatever the things we need to do, as it is basically a search engine through which you can easily search the data. It is being doing a commercial business. So that is why we are using .com. Now after that we are having a country top level domain names. As I have already told you, that there are the certain domain names which is being representing for a particular country. Jaise, for example, if I'm talking about India, it's very common for all of us because we are representing for the India. So into that case, we can use .in. Okay? So that is basically if whatever the things we are using and if it is written that .in. For example, if I say a domain name like Agarwal @akgec.ac.in. That particular in represents the country, right? This is the way what I was representing it. For इसीलिए similarly, if I'm talking about Australia, we can use AU. If I'm talking about child, we can use CL, France, FR, and so on. So these are the various list of domain names which is being representing their countries. For example, if I'm talking about Spain, then we can use ES, right? So this is the way how we are representing the various countries through which we are having a generic top level domain names which is being representing a country. After that, the second parameter is domain name space. When I'm talking about the domain name space, basically it is an hierarchical in the network or in the internet which is having a naming structure. Basically, this hierarchy is having a multiple levels from 0 to 127 from the roof of the top. From the top, if we maintain the hierarchical levels, then we can say whatever the naming structure we are giving into that particular hierarchy, then we can say it is called as a domain name space. Now you can see the example. Suppose if I am talking about XYZ, then we can say suppose we are talking about this This is a central domain name system, out of which we are having an es.com, .gov, .edu, .org. So these all are the terms. Now, for example, if I'm talking about a .com, right? So into the .com, we are using mtghouse.com, right? Yeah, like we are using google.com, right? This is the way how we are bifurcating it. After that, if I'm using a edu, as we know that it is being used for the business education system, right? So into that case, for example, if I'm talking about a Colorado is a country, and out of that, if we are using a CS, okay? So if I'm talking about the CS, we are using for the different countries. Then after that, we are using the maria.cs.edu, right? So similarly, this is the way how we can talk about the subtree that represents the domains. Then finally, we are having a namespace. When I'm talking about the namespace, name server that contains a DNS database. Basically, this particular database contains the complete information of the various names and their corresponding IP addresses. For example, if I'm using agarwal@akgec.ac.in, it means Agarwal, that is a name of that particular domain name, and that is being representing that host with their automatically with their own server name, that is @akgec, and simultaneously in the DNS database about that particular corresponding IP address. Since it is not possible for a single server to maintain the entire database systems, so that is why that particular information is being distributed among the various DNS servers. And when we are maintaining the hierarchy of the server, then we can say we are talking about the DNS server. And similarly, that particular server is also maintained in the name of, in the similar way as we are maintaining the hierarchy of the names. Now you can see that this is the way how we are maintaining the hierarchy or the subtree representation for the domains. Similarly, in the case of a namespace, we are in the case of domain name servers, we are also maintaining the same hierarchy. Second thing, the entire name space is divided into the particular zones. Which all zones we are working, that particular represents the entire name of that particular zone. When I'm talking about the zones, as we know that zone basically is a collection of nodes, various subdomains, which comes into the main domain. Basically, into the zone, the server needs to maintain the database for that particular zone file for every zone, into which we are maintaining the similar files. Now you can see the diagram for the zone. Just for example, if I'm talking about edu zone, into the edu zone, when we are having a various education university like Barclays, Stanford, EMU and so on. So these are the different zones. So the one zone whatever we are using is a edu. Edu is a one complete zone, and under which we are talking about the various zones. After that, when I'm talking about the edu, under which we are having a Barclays. When I'm talking about the Barclays, it is having a different zone into which we are having an n number of zones like CS, CO, ME and so on. So these are the various domains or various zones into which the Barclays is being used. So whenever the Barclays is being represented, we have to write barclay.edu. This particular .edu represents that it is an educational institute, right? Then after that, when I'm talking about Barclays, now we are having a CS. So if this represents the Barclays, so into that case again the CS is one zone, and under which CS we are having an n number of hosts, and similarly that is representing cs.barclay.edu. Again it represents a one type of zone. So this is the way how the zones is being represented. You can represent the zone, basically it is a collection of various nodes or the subdomains under which we are having the one main domain. So if somebody is going to ask you about the domain, so we can say the main domain is edu, that is an educational zone, right? Under which we are having a different zones, then we are working onto that platform. Then after that, if we say if the domain is not further divided into the subdomains, then the domain and zone, they both are the same things, right? Suppose मान के चलिए into that case कोई domain divide नहीं हो रहा है, आगे कोई डोमेन हमारा एक्स्ट्रा नहीं है, into that case that particular subdomain there is not existing. So into that case domain and the zone, they both are on the same meaning. When we talk about the informations about the nodes in the subdomain is stored into the server at the lower levels, right? Whatever the information we need to keep about the nodes, that is being stored in the server level and at the lower levels. The original server keeps up the reference of all these lower levels of the servers. Then after that, when we talk about the name servers, then into that case, there are the three categories of the name server that is being entirely managed by the domain name system. When we talk about the domain name servers, basically they are divided into the three categories. The first category is root server, the second is primary server, and the third is secondary server. First of all, when I am talking about the word root, basically root means it is the top level domain or a top level server, which basically contains the entire DNS tree, that is being the head of the family, like sort of. So similarly, when we are talking about the root server, it is called as a top level server which consists the entire information of the DNS tree. It does not contain any information about the domains, but basically it contains the information or the information of the delegates, the authority to the information or the other server, how they need to travel the data with the other domains. Second, next we are having a primary server. When I am talking about the primary server, basically primary server plays an important role because it always stores the file about its zone. So into this case, we need to maintain files onto that area where we require a database storage space, and this particular primary server is only being giving an authorization to the limited users, those who are having an authority to create, to manipulate, to maintain and to update that particular zone file. The last, we are having a secondary server. When I am talking about the secondary server, it transfers the complete information about a zone. Like we want to travel the data from one server to another server. So it will help to transfer the complete information about a zone from one server, from another server, from which it may be a primary server or it can be a secondary server. And the secondary server, it does not have any authority to create or to update or to the zone file. So secondary is simply used for transferring it, to passing the complete information, to giving the information. Rest being is done by the primary server, because the primary server is responsible to store a file about its zone and it can have an authority to update, create or to maintain the database. How the DNS is being working? Basically, whenever we are talking about the DNS, it always translates that particular domain name, whatever the domain name you are giving, into its own IP address automatically. For example, there are the certain steps that is being included in the domain resolution process. Let's discuss about all the working patterns. The first step says, I know what do you mean by the www.google.com, but it would be difficult for me to learn the IP address of that particular DNS server. So what happens, what is the working pattern of DNS? When we type www.google.com into the browser, it will ask the local DNS server for its own IP address, right? So here the local DNS is at the ISP's end, right? So when the local DNS does not find the IP address of the requesting domain name, then it will forward the request to the root domain name server and then again inquires about the IP address of it. First of all, it will find into its, or it will browse into its own local DNS server for its IP. If their IP exists, then it will retrieve the data. If it is not existing into an IP's end, local DNS end, then that particular command is being forwarded, or that particular request is being forwarded to the root DNS server, and then the root DNS server inquires about the IP address of it. Then the root DNS server replies with the delegation that I don't know the IP address of www.doodle.com, but know the IP address of a DNS server, right? Then into that case, it will ask about the IP address of that particular DNS server. Then the local DNS server then again ask the .com DNS server with the same question. So now into this case, the .com DNS server replies the same, that it does not know the IP address of www.google.com, but knows the address of google.com, right? Because they are having a DNS server name as a .com, so they know that what is google.com, but they are not about www.google.com. Now after again, then the DNS asks the google.com the DNS server name, like what is the DNS server name about that. Then again the google.com DNS server replies with an IP address of www.google.com. Now the local DNS sends an IP address of this particular XYZ or a www.google.com to the computer, and then finally sends the request to that particular system. This is the way how the DNS is being working. When we talk about the DNS, what happens? First of all, whenever we type a www.google.com into the browser, it will ask for the DNS server for its IP. If the DNS server, local DNS server is at IP at ISP end, then it does not find the match of that route. Then it will again forward it to the root DNS server. It inquires about the IP. Then the root server, DNS server replies with the delegation that I don't know the IP address of www.google.com. Then it will know that we know the .com IP. Then it gives google.com. Then finally, again ask the question from the DNS server about the google.com. Then it replies the IP of the www.google.com. This is the way how the request is being fulfilled and how the DNS system works. The next topic here we are going to discuss about URL. As we all know that it is a web address that uniquely identifies the document over the complete internet, right? So we are talking about URL. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. It basically refers to the web address which uniquely identifies a document over the internet. And this particular document can be anything. It can be in a form of text, audio, video, or anything that presents into the text or into the web. Then we can say we are talking about the URL. Now, for example, if I am talking about the URL, I give you an example. Suppose if I say www.tutorialspoint.com/internet_technology/index.html. Basically, this particular URL is being used for index.html, which is already a file which is being stored in a point which is called as a tutorials point on the web server under the directory of internet technology directory. This is the way how it works, because this is the main domain name space into which there is a one directory which is called internet technology. And under the internet technology, we need to know the one HTML file which is called as an index.html. When we talk about the URL, it is of two types, absolute URL and relative URL. When I am talking about the absolute URL is a complete address of a resource on the web. When we know the server name, we know the path name and simultaneously the file name, then we can say it is called as an absolute URL. When we have a complete information or complete address of the resource on the web, then we are using the word absolute. For example, if I write http/ if I am writing www.tutorialspoint.com/internet technology/index.html, right? So this indicates there is a certain file which names as index.html which exists in the tutorialspoint.com under the directory of internet technology. So it means we are giving the complete information, complete address of that resource is called as an absolute URL. when we are talking about this, you can see HTTP here we are using as a protocol. We know tutorials point is a server name, and into which we are having a directory, that is an internet technology, under which we are having a one file which names as index.html. The protocol, basically when I'm talking about into the web browsers, how to handle that particular file. Fine. Basically the protocol parts ki that particular file is which type. So for example, similarly we can use some other protocols also, so that we can create the URLs. Like we can use FTP if we are having a file transfer protocols, HTTPS, Gopher, mail to, news, and so on. So these are the various types of protocols which we are using to create a URL. The next we are having a relative URL. When I'm talking about the word relative URL is that URL which gives a partial address of the web page. Unlike an absolute, it gives a complete names like protocol, server part, and the file name, and so on. So into the case of absolute, we are giving a complete information, but in the relative, unlike the absolute URL, the protocol and the server parts are omitted from the relative URL. Basically, relative URLs are used for internal links, right? Like we need to create a link of that particular file that are the part of the same website to the web pages that you are like you are in a place of linking into it. So it gives a relative information or a partial information about that file. Just for example, if I'm writing any topic like TCP, know about the TCP. So you are not giving the complete information, you are just giving a partial information into that particular web page. So it will create a links for the n number of web pages that is related to the TCP. So it means we are giving a relative URL about the information. So this is all about the URL. So in this lecture, we have discussed about the domain name space, domain name system architecture, and their working pattern. Then after that, we have discussed about URL, how it works, what do you mean by the URL, what all are the parameters we know about the URL. There are the two different types like an absolute URL and relative URL. Thank you.